If you've been to Costco lately, then I know you've seen racks with beautiful bulbs and fantastic bare root plants. But you may be wondering if they're worth the money and if you're getting a good deal. So in today's video, I'm gonna open these bad boys up. I'm gonna show you what you get for your money, the condition of the plants, and tell you how it compares to wholesale pricing. Okay. So I hate to be a spoiler, but yes, these bare root plants are a fantastic bargain. I'm going to compare the prices that you would pay at Costco to the wholesale prices that I pay when I buy plants for my backyard nursery, and you'll see that they are very similar. Now, before we go any further, I know some of you out there are thinking, is she going to kick back from Costco? Does she work for Costco? No, I don't work for Costco. I'm not sponsored by Costco. In fact, I spend most of my paychecks at Costco. I love Costco, I love their products, and for me, these bare root plants are no different. They are a good quality and a good price, and I'm going to tell you why. I'm working today out in my hoop house where I'm going to be potting up all of these plants. Now you may be wondering why I don't just plant them in the ground. First, if we haven't met before, I live in zone 7 in the Northeast, and our March and sometimes even April can be very volatile. We can have warm days where it hits 60 degrees and it's sunny and beautiful, and 2 days later it can go down to 22 at night. So to give these plants the best possible start, I'll be starting them in pots, growing them out in my hoop house until our last frost date, which is not until the end of April, and then planting them out in the ground or selling them through my backyard business. If you live in an area where it's already warmed up and your soil is warm, you can go ahead and just plant these bare root plants in the ground if you have good soil conditions. My soil here stinks. Luckily, I have backyard chickens. I'm able to amend the soil pretty easily. But if you also have terrible soil, you may want to consider growing your plants, at least the young ones, out in pots to give them the best chance of success. If you don't have a hoop house or a greenhouse, that's okay. I'll leave a link for one on Amazon. It's the one that I use. I think it's great. I've had it for a few years. I've had no issues, and it's relatively inexpensive. If you don't have the yard space or the inclination for something like a hoop house, you could also use low tunnels, which is just really plastic put over the potted plants to protect it from a late frost. So first up today are daylilies. Now, if you watched any of my other videos, you know that I was super excited about this particular daylily, this pink one with the ruffled edges and the colored throat. This is called Lies and Lipstick. Now, I was planning on buying this wholesale through my wholesaler. Unfortunately for me, they sold out the day that they opened up the sales, and I didn't check back in time. So when I saw these at Costco, I had to have them. I bought a whole bunch of bags. The good news for me is that the price was almost the same. I would have paid about $5 for these wholesale. And as you probably know, all of these packages were $13.99 at my local Costco. Now, I'm not going to include tax in any of the discussions today because either way, I would pay the same amount of tax, and your tax rate may be different if you live elsewhere in the country other than New York. Your tax rate is probably less, let's be honest. But when I buy wholesale, I have to buy very large quantities and I have to pay for shipping. And sometimes the shipping prices can actually be more than the plant. By buying at my local Costco, there's no shipping charges. The difference is when I order from my wholesaler, I would have gotten 25 of these bare root Lies and Lipstick daylilies, which is fantastic. I'm excited about them. I think they're going to be a big seller, and I'm saving some for myself to plant in my own yard. However, with Costco, this is a double pack. As you can see, there is a second daylily in here. So this is a 4-pack. It has 2 Lies and Lipstick, and it has 2 Chicago Apache. Now, I wasn't planning on buying red daylilies for my business or for my yard, but this is kind of a nice way of testing my market because for all I know, when I put these on sale, I'm going to have people that show up saying they were looking for red daylilies. We'll see what happens. Let's take a look inside. Wow. You're not going to believe the growth on these. Now, I've only had these a few days, and even in the bag, in the package, look at those leaves. These are going to be phenomenal. All right, so this first bag is the red Chicago Apache. I'm going to give you a close-up. You can see that this is a 2-pack. Now look, you can see that this is actually starting to die off. And sometimes when I talk to people at Costco, when I'm in the plant section, I'm just going to tease those two apart. Sometimes people will tell me that they had trouble with their bare roots or with the bulbs that they got from Costco, but like I said, I've only had these for a few days, and you can see that they are starting to struggle because they've been in the package. Now, I put these in my garage in the dark, but I have no idea how long they were on the shelf at Costco. The good news is if you were to open up the package and right away you could see that the plants were damaged or dead, Costco will take them back. So make sure that you take them back right away with your receipt and you won't have any issues. If you were to wait though 6 or 7 weeks and forget to open the box, I don't think they would take them back then and you would be out the money. So I have committed planticide a few times on accident by forgetting about bulbs that I put in my garage or bare roots. So don't make that mistake. Put them somewhere where you're going to see them and you'll remember to get them out and potted or planted in the ground. Now I was planning on using these 4.5-inch square pots, but as you can see, this is not going to work. I'm gonna have to put this in a 1-gallon pot. So now let's talk a little bit about the value of this plant if you were to buy it potted like I'm about to do at your nursery center. Now, if you buy your plants typically at a big box store, like a Lowe's, a Home Depot, or even some grocery store chains, these lilies potted and grown out over the next couple of weeks would cost you a minimum of $11 a piece. So by buying bare root plants from Costco, you're not only getting the same wholesale pricing that I would get, but you're also saving money in the long run because you're getting 4 plants for $13.99. Now this is Floricon fertilizer. It's a well-balanced, slow-release fertilizer. You can use any fertilizer. This is just what I happen to have. Of course, when I'm done, I'm going to water all these in. You can tell that it definitely needs it. And I've got a plant tag here because in 3 weeks, I won't remember which one's which. Now, once I'm done potting these up or planting them in the ground, I save these so that I have the plant information on the back in case I need to refer to it for anything. So that's one tip I have for you. All right, next, let's talk about this Itoh peony. Now, if you're not familiar with these, I'm gonna tell you this is probably the best bargain out of all of them. While the lilies come in a 4-pack, and we're gonna talk about Clematis that comes in a 4-pack, and Astilbe that comes with 7, this Itoh peony, this is called Bartzella, this only comes with 1. So you may be thinking, is that really such a good deal? But yes, it is, it absolutely is. When I buy these wholesale, I pay $12 to $15 a piece, depending on the variety, and I still have to pay shipping. This was $13.99. So you could see that the price is basically the same as what I would pay for a wholesale plant. All right, so you can see there is some fresh, new, healthy growth in there. So this is going to be a good one. So an Itoh peony is a cross between the regular garden peonies that we all know and love that need staking because they have weak stems and huge flowers, and a tree peony that doesn't need staking. When these entered the market for the first time, they were going for $1,000 a piece because it takes about 3 years to get these big enough that they can be divided and sold. So I'm going to be planting this now. This one is not going to be for sale. This is really just for me. But I thought I would show you because this is really, really healthy looking. Now these are hardy all the way down to zone 3. So even if you live in a really cold climate, you can totally grow these. Okay, next let's talk about this Clematis or Clematis, depending on where you are tuning in from. This is a 4-pack of this really pretty pink and purple Clematis. Do you hear my cat? He's jumping on the outside of the plastic. The door is open, he could come in. He just wants to say hello to the camera, I think. Now, I spoke with somebody at Costco about these when I was buying them. And she was telling me that she had bought some Clematis from Costco before, and she was unhappy with them because she said they never came up. So, Clematis are funny. You need to plant them deep. They like to have their roots shaded, but their leaves in the sun. And Just like the Itoh peony, these clematis may not bloom the first year. I forgot to tell you that when I was talking about the Itoh. It's typical for many perennials not to bloom the first year. So this clematis will probably not bloom this year. The Bartzella Itoh peony likely will not bloom this year either. But going forward, this can produce, the Itoh can produce up to 50 flowers in a year. And if you've ever had a prolific clematis before, you know they can produce hundreds of flowers in a season. I'm excited about these. All right, so good, healthy growth in there, some nice stems. All right, these look healthy. There's a big root ball. I'll give you a better look. All right, so here's number one. You can see it has very nice roots. It has a stem already coming. These are gonna fit really nicely in my 4.5-inch pots, which I was planning on using for everything else, but the other plants were just too big. Now, back before I moved to my current home, at my old house, we had the biggest, most beautiful, most prolific clematis that I've ever seen. And it used to grow up my mailbox, and it was so beautiful. And I looked forward to it every winter. I couldn't wait for it to come back. When we sold our house, I had only been gardening for a few years, and we moved in December, and I didn't realize that I could have dug it up and taken it with me. I thought that because it was the winter, it would die. And absolutely the worst thing happened. The people that bought our house from us didn't know a lot about gardening, but they were excited about all of our plants, but they ended up getting divorced. And the people that bought the house from them tore out all of our plantings or just killed them. I'm not really sure. I drove by and there was nothing left of any of our plants. The clematis was gone. I had this big, beautiful rose tree that was gone. I had yarrow plants that I grew. They were gone. Everything was gone. It broke my heart. Okay, so these clematis, you're getting 4 for $13.99. If you were to buy these at a garden center once they're potted, likely in a bigger container than this, probably a 1 gallon, and these will go into a 1 gallon later this season. I just like to use these because I can fit more of them in my hoop house or in my greenhouse. But you would pay probably about $13 for a potted plant. So for the same price, you're getting a 4-pack. The difference is the potted plant is going to flower this year, where this is not. Now, if I had been able to get these earlier from Costco and put them in a pot in the hoop house, which is relatively warm, I might have been able to get at least a little bit of flowers. But, you know, with Costco, you have to get things when they have them. Something like this is not easily ordered online. Most of the time, you have to just get them in the warehouse. Astilbe is a shade-loving plant that gives you a pop of feathery plumes of color in the shade, just where you need it. Woohoo! All right, yeah, these are going crazy inside the bag. Now with the Astilbe, there's 2 bags. There's supposed to be 3 in one and 4 in the other. This one says 4, and the other bag on the label, see how it says 4? On the label, it says 3. Don't mind my nails. I don't often get my nails done this time of year because I'm just digging in the dirt anyway. I should probably start getting my nails done if I'm going to put them on camera, right? All right, so let's take a look at these. Now, in the last package I did, which I didn't do on camera, I did them a couple of days ago over the weekend. There was supposed to be 3 in one package and 4 in the other, but I only found 3 in the 4 package. So I teased one apart. I don't know if it was supposed to be teased apart or if they had just grown together. This is the 3-pack. All right, so you can see here's one. I'm gonna try to just break these apart gently. Ooh, and it is tough. Oh boy. All right, let's see. Ooh, okay. 1, 2, and 3. This one is just a mass of roots. Look at that. I don't know if this is going to fit in my pot, actually. I might have to put this into a 1 gallon. These guys are going to go in my 4.5-inch pots. Best laid plans, right? I think I neglected to tell you which soil I'm using. So for that, I apologize. I'm using ProMix HP. I get it at my local nursery wholesaler. You can use whatever you have. It's got vermiculite in it. It's well draining. It's also got mycorrhizae, which helps the roots to grow. I don't know if they sell it at Amazon. If they do, I'll leave a link in case you're interested. But truthfully, any potting soil that's going to be well draining and retain moisture is fine. This has some added fertilizers and things. But so does Miracle-Gro. So just use that if you need to. That one barely fits. This one's a little crooked in the pot. You can see that it's growing more because that's probably the direction that it was facing in the bag. But it'll straighten out once it starts getting some sunlight. Oh, I forgot to fertilize this one. Here you go, baby. What do you think? Is it going to fit? I think I can make it work. I cannot make it work. How about this guy? I always keep extra pots on hand when I'm potting things up because this happens more than I'd like to admit. Although I guess it's a good thing, really, because that means I'm getting really nice big plants, right? All right, let's see what this 4-pack looks like. Now, I would love to know what your experience has been buying plants at Costco, but also if you have an online retailer that you really love, I would love to hear about that. Or if you have an online retailer that you really dislike, I'd love to hear about that too. Now, with some of the plants that Costco sells as bare root like these, sometimes there's a rubber band tying them together. When I bought hostas, they had a rubber band. These don't. There's no rubber band on these. But that's just something to be mindful of. You might find a rubber band that needs to be cut. Look at those roots. Oh, all right. And I have 4 distinct plants. Here's 2. Here's 3. And here is a ginormous 4th. Like this one, I think, again, I'm going to need a bigger pot. It's a good problem. It's going to break up any clumps that are in the soil. I'm not sure if you can hear the rain. You might be able to tell by the light that it has started raining. And one of the reasons that I really love this hoop house is that I can be out here, rain or shine. I can be out here in the winter when it's really cold. And if the sun is out, it stays really nice and warm. I didn't mention already, I have 2 amazing children who are musicians. So it can get a little loud in my house. This is kind of like my sanctuary. So I think at some point, we've all bought something. We've all bought a plant or a bare root or a tree online. And when it arrived, it was different than what we expected, or maybe just didn't thrive. And I have a couple of companies that I will not buy from anymore because most of the things that I bought either died right away or took 4 years to really look good. So if you've had that experience, tell me in the comments. Hopefully it wasn't Costco, although I have to say, I always have good luck with Costco. The only thing I think that I ever bought from Costco that didn't bloom was ranunculus. And ranunculus, if you're not familiar, it is beautiful, but it is a cold weather, or I should say cool weather flower. They make beautiful bouquets. But ranunculus also typically needs to be pre-sprouted. I didn't pre-sprout mine, and like I said, my soil's not great, but that was years ago 2 years in a row I planted it. The first year it came up, it looked amazing. The second year, and it never came up. So I almost forgot to tell you about the pricing. Duh. All right, so these were $13.99 for a 7-pack, which breaks down to about $2 wholesale. I could not find this particular variety. This one is called America. The one that was available through my wholesaler was called Rhineland, but it's a similar pink. It's a little bit darker. I would have paid between $2 and $3 for a 25-pack of bare roots for that. So again, very similar in pricing. Now, what would you pay for this in a garden center once it's potted and already growing out? Probably $11 at a big box store, maybe a little bit more at your local nursery. So by utilizing Costco and potting your own plants, you can save a lot of money. Now, of course, you can put these right in the ground, although you have to be careful of frost. You know that I always look forward to reading your comments. So tell me, what are you most excited about buying at Costco or somewhere else that you're planting this year, especially if it's something that you're planting for the first time? I would love to know. And if you're not a subscriber, I would love to have you subscribe to the channel. I got to go water these plants in. So thanks so much for watching today. Have a great day.